Hey, good evening. This week 13 in football, pro football 2020. This is our wrap up show, and it is definitely an interesting week in the NFL. A lot of playoff positioning being cleared up, a lot of upsets, a lot of jobs on the line. And one thing about the NFL that most people that really follow it love to admit is the stories that keep us going. Sometimes it's just more than the game. The storyline just interesting and been a long day, Dwayne.
Hey, it was a great week 13, man, and a lot of good games, a lot of good finishes, and we're gonna jump right back. We're gonna jump right into the first 1 o'clock game.
Hmm.
Um, there's a reason the Jets are 0-12.
Oh,
Um, look like they have victory in their hands, and their defensive coordinator called zero coverage, all out blitz, and got beat by the speedy rookie Henry Ruggs, and they lose 31-28. And they continue to hold down the number one draft pick. Now, I'm seeing on Twitter and I'm seeing a lot of different places where people are saying they did that on purpose. I don't know. Greg Williams is an aggressive defensive coordinator. He's been known to do stuff like that in the past. But does it pass the smell test? No, it doesn't. So anybody that feels like they think the fix was in, if my late great father was here with me, he would tell me the fix was in. And it's just a bad loss, man, and
yeah,
it's just a bad loss.
you feel sorry for the guys that's playing hard for the Jets because at the end of the day, they are professionals and they don't tank regardless of what we say. And we mess around and say team tank and all this for draft position next year. Is that the NFL is a shelf life of like 3.2 years, and these guys is playing for their careers. This is their highest earning potential that most of them could ever make
Their
when they're
livelihood.
playing. So they're not going to tank. They're not going to put bad tape out there. So it's just amazing what Greg Williams put them guys in. And if you like anything about the Jets, and me and Dwayne quietly has a liking for the kid from LSU, Marcus May.
Yeah,
If you listen to this kid's professionalism in that press conference was amazing. He could have clearly threw his coach under the bus. He's a free agent to be. Could have threw the organization under the bus, but he just handled himself with total class. And
yeah, he's a
that
class.
just, like I said this morning, that the Jet fans got every right to be upset with this organization, and it's just, I like the GM. I think the GM knows what he's doing. It's interesting going forward with the Jets, but we definitely going to talk about the bugaboo about the Raiders playing this far east. The Raiders just play according to their competition, and they got away with one today.
They definitely got away with one. It is difficult when West Coast teams travel to the East Coast. We did mention that this morning, but they're lucky to get out of MetLife Stadium with a win,
Yeah,
and that's basically all I have to say about that and that game. I don't know if you have anything more to add or if you're ready to move on
just move right along. It's
to
some
the next.
interesting games.
Very interesting games. The next one wound up being, I watched this whole game. I watched the whole entire game. And this game wound up in the end. The final score made the game look closer than it really was. The Browns moved to 9-3, 41-35 over the Titans. They were up big, man. They were up big early in this game. And then they allowed the Titans to get back in it and make it look respectable. But I'm here to say, and me and Quentin, we talk all day during these games, and I don't want to never ever hardly be a king of the moment. That's something I try to guard against. But I would have to say this was Baker Mayfield's best game as a professional. He looked like a good pro today. He moved the ball around, and again, I'm gonna say it again as I spoke to you earlier. It makes you wonder about Odell Beckham Jr. It just seems like teams get better when he's not around.
One one of
So he's a phenomenal talent.
one of the things I'd like to second exactly what you're saying. Um, and I'm quite sure when we do our pre-draft stuff, I'm probably going to say the same thing pre-draft when we do our pre-draft show, I'm gonna say now that Cleveland needs to look at their franchise, and I personally think that the Cleveland Browns, if they're smart, they will draft all defense. If they get that defense together, they get another safety, probably another linebacker or two. The Cleveland Browns got a chance to be special from the skill positions. Baker, I believe that what the Cleveland Browns did and what I like about the coach is that they are allowing him to throw his passes off of play action. And with those type of running backs, you have to respect the run so much that Baker is throwing using the tight ends, using Juice Landry in the middle of the field, and without having Odell there. And this is why I think they're a better team is because Odell Beckham is so good that you'll be so focused in getting him the ball that you're forcing stuff. So Cleveland may need to take a look at Odell and realize that maybe he is, um, as an organization, better off not on the team and better for their franchise. So big win for them, and I'm really scared and worried about what Tennessee got going on right now. Um, People saying Tennessee can't win because they run the ball. That's not true. What Tennessee has happened is their defense is not holding up no more.
Right.
Um, they lost a lot. A lot of people don't realize they lost Casey, they lost Correa. Besides the two guys they got in free agency, Vic Beasley and Jadavian Clowney, they're not there right now. And I think that just Cleveland's just not holding. I mean, Tennessee's defense not holding up. Adoree Jackson had a lot of promise, and he's like he's a second too late. We're playing at the corner, and really when you look at their defense, they only got Simmons and Breyer who really scare you. So Tennessee's going to struggle, but be mindful. Tennessee's one of the teams that have been in the playoffs the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So they'll get to the playoffs, and that's where they're going to show that they're mature. Whether they win or lose or not, that's up to the players. But Tennessee's just going through that rut in the middle of the season right now.
They are. They most certainly are. So yeah, that wound up being a lot closer. Another game that was back and forth. The Jaguars fall to 1-11. The Vikings moved to 6-6 with a 27-24 win in overtime. Very disappointed in the way the Vikings handled their business today. They played around with a team that's not better than them, and it almost came back to bite them. They stay in the playoff hunt at 6-6 because it's a lot of bad teams, you know. Give Jacksonville credit, give Mike Glennon credit. They played with a lot of heart, but the Vikings came through.
Yeah, like I said, we this morning how we feel about the coach. The Vikings is another team that really they're in a tough situation because they're competing, but they really need a quarterback. They may be one of those teams that may be willing to trade up during the draft time. And you're right. Clearly, Jacksonville is not trying to tank. Jacksonville is playing hard. But no way the Vikings should ever struggle against Jacksonville, definitely at home. The Vikings just is one of those teams that I think that it may be time for the coach and them to part ways because they need a shot in the arm, whether it's a new quarterback or new coach. They shouldn't struggle like that. The receivers is excellent. The running back is excellent. And like you said to me on the phone, sometimes you could get a chance to watch these players and wonder why they're struggling or wonder why they're not the same. We happened to watch when Dalvin Cook got hit at the 2-yard line by Van Der Esch. And if you go back in that game, Dalvin Cook has not been the same. He doesn't run with that ferociousness that he ran ever since that hit. And then the later hit by Donovan Wilson. So we need to look at maybe Dalvin Cook may be fighting through some injuries right now.
Yeah, he may be. I mean, he had 32 carries today. But, yeah, he takes a little bit of a pounding. But, hey, you win and you move on. So people are going to look at 6-6. They're not going to really look at how you got there. You know, you're 6-6. You can try to make a push. I mean, this division, you know, the Packers are going to run away with it. But there's a lot of bad teams that's still in the hunt. So you could maybe sneak in as a 6 seed last wild.
Mm-hmm.
A very chippy game today was the Dolphins and the Bengals. It just wasn't a very artistic football game, but it was very chippy. Players getting ejected. Coaches looked like they was on the field ready to fight. It was just a very, very chippy, nasty game that the Dolphins came out on top 19-7.
Yeah, wondering. We don't know of any back history with these coaching staffs or these players, and it's not like they play each other a lot because they both historically been bad lately. Just like you said, an odd game. Miami probably shouldn't have struggled this much with Cincinnati. Just a weird game to
Weird game.
understand.
Weird game.
Miami's trying to make a push, and it's just like you can't continue to play to the level of your competition. And you may be in the. Hopefully, the Bengals have gotten some that chippiness, have gotten some type of heart, and they could continue that towards the regular season, so
Right.
they could pull off a couple upsets going down the line.
Next up, I'm at a loss, man. The Bears was winning this game, man. They were winning this game, and they allowed the Lions to just pull off an amazing fourth quarter comeback and beat them 34-30. It's the holiday season, right? We want to think about goodness, and we want to think about joy, peace on earth, goodwill to all men and women. But Matt Nagy may have to go, man.
Nagy's in trouble. Nagy's in trouble. Nagy pulled off. What's up, Rob? Glad you could join the show. Nagy pulled off one of the worst trades. He was part of one of the worst trades possible. Thanks for the subscription, Rob. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
He pulled off one of the worst trades in Chicago history, and now he's losing the team. And this is what happens when you have a team that have a great defense and you don't settle that quarterback situation for 3 seasons. So now it's a good chance that you mess around and you'll see Chuck Pagano get that job. If now you get fired and Chuck Pagano tell the organization, go get me a quarterback. I mean, Detroit was dead to wrong. They was losing on the road after firing their whole front office staff and their coach. So it's no reason why they should have lost to Detroit at home after being up double digits. It's just, Chicago. I don't know if they're paying for when they was in the old NFL with all the titles they won, or when Chicago Bulls won their 6. But Chicago, the Bears just, you can't tell it's a football town. I'll just say that. It's just been a long time since the 85 Bears. So it's going to be interesting going forward.
Yeah, it is. So this morning, I promoted 2 of my upset specials in the 1 o'clock hour, and they both were losers. So it's a good thing I don't gamble on things like this. But Saints 21, Falcons 16. Falcons had really a lot of opportunities to take control of this game and win this game. They didn't. The Saints moved to 10-2. And we got to respect this Saint team because they're still winning without Drew Brees. Taysom Hill looked more like a quarterback today. He did throw for 277 yards, had a couple of shots downfield. I mean, he has weapons. The Falcons play a lot better under Raheem Morris. They do. I mean, they look better. They're still losing these close games, but they look better. And I'm going to keep saying it. I think it's time to take the interim tag off him and let him get the full-time job. His players love him, and they're playing hard for him, man. But, hey, the Saints just keep moving along. Number 1 seed in the East.
I'll just say about the Saints is that I've been on Sean Payton's top for a couple of years now because they always seem to choke down the end. I don't know if it's him or it's the quarterback is just tired. But he's really coaching, and a lot of people, including the big NFL guys from the big 4-letter networks, have been saying that he need to start Jameson Winston because Taysom Hill's numbers. But at the end of the day, when you're just there as a backup quarterback, the numbers mean nothing. Just get me a win. Just get me through to next week. That's how backup quarterbacks are looked at. So Sean Payton is doing a hell of a job, which is kind of making me look stupid because I think that he was getting too much credit. But he's showing if you consider a very good coach, you have to coach when the odds are against you, and he's really kicking ass as a coach right now.
Yeah.
Atlanta. What do you say? I mean, they are what they are, but definitely Ryan Morris needs to get that job full time. Get them a good football GM, a football guy. Get them that defensive talent they need,
Yeah,
so they could be on their way.
yeah. The other game, Indianapolis 26, Texans 20. A heartbreaking defeat for the Texans. They had everything set up. They managed the clock well down the stretch, and looked like they had a chance to win the game. And bad snap. Deshaun Watson doesn't get it clean. Fumble. Coach recover. Coach win the game. Texans, they play hard for Romeo Crennel. I think they'll be set up. Again, we've been saying it for a while. We're hoping, and I'll say when I say we're, I'll say me. I'm hoping Matt Eberflus gets the Houston Texans job. I think he's ready. I think he's gonna have these guys fired up. And just a tough loss for the Texans, but it was a win that the Colts needed to keep their playoff hopes alive. They moved to 8-4 with the 6-point victory.
Colts surprised me just as much as the Titans surprised me. Colts, I didn't think they had it in them. Phillip Rivers went back 8 years into time of what he needed to do. Um, I believe that the Texans, man, your quarterback getting that much money, he cannot fumble the football there. This is one of the things that even though we see a lot of talent in Deshaun, because of the coaching, the insecurities that's going on down the Texans, he needs to continue to progress and not regress as a quarterback from the pocket, and needs to
Right.
continue doing his reads. This is what happens when like I said, you get rid of this guy's top receiver. Now he's trying so hard not to lose that. The chance of him doing that fumble again is almost slim to none. So the Texans definitely need to. Their organization is really like in trouble because, like we always talk about and play about, once Bob McNair died, basically his kids, they don't even know if they want to own the franchise. So they got to get a GM in there. They got to get a coach in there. Eberflus will be good. I see Rob's think Bieniemy would be good. I don't know if Bieniemy is going to coach in the NFL. And it's not that he can't coach. I think that Bieniemy gets a little bit too much credit down in Kansas City. Um, he doesn't call the plays. I know that a lot of people like Bieniemy, but he doesn't call the plays. That's Andy's job. And if you know Andy always been a great play caller and offensive designer
Mhm.
of plays. What was the next game, Dwayne?
Next game we have we're gonna move to the 4 o'clock action, and I just say we go with the stinker first. Um, Anthony Lynn is walking that short plank. He's definitely gonna get fired. I got a feeling he's gonna get fired this week. You just can't have a 45-0 loss. Looks like this team is disinterested in playing for him. They don't believe in him. They don't believe in the message. You could tell by the way they played today. This is not a very good New England Patriot team, and they beat the brakes off them. They won 45-0, and I think it's over. And to Rob, I think Los Angeles Chargers is the perfect landing spot for Eric Bieniemy. I think the quarterback's in place for him to be successful in Los Angeles, and that's the job I'm hoping to see Bieniemy get. Anthony Lynn, he'll bounce on his feet. He'll be a running back coach somewhere. Someone will take care of him. One of these head coaches will get a job like a Eberflus, and he'll bring. And then, yeah, I agree, Rob. I think Anthony may be done tonight. I think he may be done tonight.
Gus is already fired. Gus is already fired. Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Gus isn't. Oh, Gus. Yeah, where does Gus coach? I don't know. But look,
He's a
one of the
DC. He's a DC out there. I
okay.
believe he's with
One,
the
I
Giants.
think Gus will probably stay around. I mean, I think one of the things that the Chargers hurt the Chargers is that Darwin James injury hurt them. But even we were a little skeptical when you decided to go with Tyrod Taylor. I mean, Tyrod Taylor, he's been a career backup, and Herbert came and Herbert was lighting it up. So it kind of makes the defense always be skeptical of the coach. And I just think that the Chargers, Lynn, for some reason, he's lost that team. which is interesting
Yeah.
because clearly we all know from a talent standpoint, they might be one of the most talented teams in the NFL from 1 through 53. The Chargers are very talented, and for you get a new coach in there who could coach them up, and the injuries you can't change, and they're healthy, they're going to be a dangerous team
Yeah.
for the next couple of years. So definitely Anthony Lynn has basically cost himself. I know we like him as a coach on the
Yeah.
show, but
But I think
like you said, Rob, Gus Bradley being there as D coordinator. I mean, you can't give up that many points to New England. I mean, New England,
yeah,
they Drew Bledsoe or Tom Brady's not there no more. Cam hasn't really had a big game. It's just they just gave up. And
yeah,
when
but
you play, go ahead, Dwayne.
I can see them getting rid of Anthony Lynn in the next couple of days or so. But Gus Bradley will stick around just to be the interim head coach because he had head coaching experience, and then they'll blow it up at the end of the year. The Spanoses they moved to Los Angeles. They're saving money by having the same stadium with the Cronkies, and I just don't see Anthony Lynn surviving this. Yeah, that he could be the interim too, the offensive coordinator. You're right. I just don't know that you fire the head coach and the defensive coordinator in the same week. The NFL usually doesn't work that way. It's usually one or the other. That's a lot of stuff that you would have to turn over, but I mean anything's possible. I just know they can't have a performance like that. That just was terrible, and I think we spent too much time on that game.
Hmm.
Another four o'clock was the other Los Angeles team, the Rams, taking out the Cardinals 38-28. As we stated this morning, the Cardinals was a little bit ahead of schedule, so them being 6-6 is not a major thing. I think we should all be surprised that they jumped out to the fast start that they did. Now they're falling back to earth and being around where they should be, 500, maybe a game under, maybe a game over 500. That's about where they should be. Watch out for these Rams, man. The Rams are 8-4 now. Um, this NFC West is wide open because some of the things that have happened. So you got the Rams at 8-4. They could win this division.
Yeah, that division, like I said, they all beat up on each other. I mean, the Cardinals give Seattle problems. Uh, the Rams can't beat the 49ers. The Rams could beat Seattle and they could beat the Cardinals. It's a whole they all beat each other up. It reminds me of one of those old NFC East divisions, like I said. One thing I say about the Rams is that I didn't like the coach for a long time, but he can coach.
Yeah,
The wonder kid can coach. He puts his players in the best position to succeed, and that's all you ask from an offensive coach and a guy who calls the plays. The Rams are interesting. I think the Cardinals. This is a big loss for what they're trying to do, and like you said, they are a year or two ahead of schedule. But moving forward, you have to clearly see sometimes you got to slow the game down. You got to be willing to curtail your offense to realize, okay, we're winning the game. Let's slow down. And this is one of the things about these teams that have these open offenses that sometimes the coaching relies so much on their play call that they don't know how to scheme it down. And we'll talk about that during one of these other games. And I seen something today that really showed me these guys know what they're doing.
yeah. So we're moving right along in the 4 o'clock action. We got two more games to go. Um, the next game we're going to talk about the NFC East leading um, New York Football Giants. You go into Seattle. You go into Seattle without your starting quarterback and Daniel Jones, and you come out with Colt McCoy. He's a game manager. He's not gonna really win a game for you. He's not really gonna lose a game for you either. New York Giants is built on their defense in that running game now. Wayne Gallman, Alfred Morris ran the ball very effectively against the Seahawks, and the defense played very well. A lot of hard hitting from that Giants defense, and everybody was crowning Seattle off of last week, and then they come in here and they're 8-4. So they're 8-4, and the Rams are 8-4. Cardinals are 6-6. So the 49ers win tomorrow. They're 6-6. So the NFC West is wide open, man. Wide
One
open.
of
A
one
great
of
win
the
for the New York Football Giants.
one of the things that I liked about not Brit but Scottish. Yeah, we talking about NFL football. We ain't talking about you know European football.
Yeah, we ain't
So we
talking about
we apologize.
we
We
talking about
apologize.
we talking about FOOT ball, not FUTOL ball.
But we glad you could join us if you
But
like
thank you for
American
joining
football.
us.
But one of the things I liked about the New York Giants today, and me and you are not New York Giant fans. We never root for New York Giant fans. But one of the things I respect about Joe Judge today and the coaching staff is that everybody always talks about, and I just mentioned it about these wide open offenses. And I noticed that when the Giants got the lead, they went to 2 and 3 tight end sets, ran the football, and play action. They did what we used to call play the game close to the vest.
Yep.
Colt McCoy was put in a position to not lose the game. You could clearly see that the head coach to the offensive coordinator and the quarterback were on the same page. And that was a great coached football game if you like coaching. That's what you coach when you have the lead and you not trying to give away the game the way the Giants played today. And Seattle has some major issues that people not realizing. Their secondary is suspect. Jamal Adams, as great as he is, he's not a good safety
Box safety.
from a coverage. He's clearly a small linebacker who's just happened to play safety.
Right.
And they give up a lot on the run. The Giants didn't do any misdirection stuff. They did a lot of punch in the mouth stuff. So bad loss to Seattle. They could have kind of kept the lead or kept hold of their division. And they got to be mindful. A lot of division games, this is what the NFL set it up for. There are a lot of division games coming down the stretch. So the NFC West is going to be very interesting. The Giants basically took hold of the NFC East today. And
They did.
this is something that we kind of been rooting for as Cowboy fans because we understand that winning the division does not help what we need to do as a franchise.
Doesn't help.
So very interesting game, and I really like the way
I got people online that's saying I didn't really mean what I was saying, that I was trying to be a jinx for the Giants. No, you're not paying attention. You need to watch more of our show and pay attention. Okay? The Cowboys don't need to be winning this division. You understand what I'm saying? At all.
Yeah.
Like at all. They don't need to win this division. Winning this division doesn't help their situation. Kudos to the Giants. They started the season 0-5. They're now 5-7. They won a big game without their starting quarterback. So you give them kudos and you hope that they go on to do what they got to do. As for me and what I want the number 4 pick, 3 or 4 pick in the draft, and I want somebody's draft. I want somebody's draft. So yes, I'm Team Tank, and I'm gonna trust the process. And if you don't like it, that's your business. But this is my business, and this is what I want from my team. Whether you like it or you don't.
Well, you did make one. You did make one prediction today, Dwayne. That was very interesting, and it came into fruition with this next game.
Yes.
That we're gonna talk about. The Philadelphia Eagles going to Lambeau Field.
Mm-hmm.
You said Jalen Hurts was going to come in the game in the third quarter, and he absolutely did come in the game in the third quarter. And I think that, Dwayne, that we may need to do a show during the week, and we need to talk about the NFC East alone.
Absolutely,
because we
want to give it the time that it deserves, people.
And,
one thing we vow to you guys, what we try to get done on Sunday nights is we try to get this done before the kickoff so that everybody can enjoy the game. Now, some people will say, who wants to watch this game tonight? The Broncos are going to get blown out. But guess what? This is why they play the game. You don't have Hinton at quarterback this week. They got their quarterback back. So they may hang around with the Chiefs for a little while. Hopefully the cheetah won't have to be calling for help like he did last week, a la Shannon Sharp. But
So we both said, Dwayne, the Eagles was going to get blown out. We didn't waste much time on this game this morning.
yeah,
But we have to talk about Carson Wentz.
well,
This should be more of a story than the national media continuously making an excuse about the unhealthy players have came and gone in the league. The league has always been about uh, uh, attrition and stuff like that. Why Carson Wentz continues getting the excuses that he gets from the national guys is amazing to me because, like, I'm in the Philadelphia area as far as news, and the Philadelphia area is roasting this guy.
yeah, it's one of those things, right? I had a very good friend, very good female friend, right? And she had a situation where she was in a car accident, bad car accident, right? And just bear with me, I'm gonna bring this together for everybody. But she was in a bad car accident, and in that car accident, she was at a red light, and somebody came from behind and just destroyed her, the car, everything. This happened 20 years ago. To this day, whenever she's at a red light, she's just looking up in the rearview mirror. She's just looking up there. She doesn't have confidence that somebody's not going to run into her. Carson Wentz does not have confidence. He doesn't have confidence in the pocket. He looks skittish. He looks like a fighter that's taken too many blows to the head.
Well, let me ask Rob. Let me ask Rob a question before you finish, Dwayne. I understand Jeffrey Lurie is upset with Doug Peterson. Jeffrey Lurie has always been an owner that kind of butted in the affairs of the coaches. He's done it. He did it when Andy was there with and Donovan McNabb and so forth and so on. But I want to ask, and I'm not a big Doug Peterson fan, but what could Doug Peterson do? He fired the offensive coordinator from last year. He fired Mike Groh. And before that, Frank Wright got a promotion. What is Doug Peterson doing as a coach that's hurting Carson Wentz? They don't have a fullback on the roster. That's something from a fundamental standpoint the Eagles have never done. They go to these double tight end sets. The first drive of this game, they ran the ball 12 times and only got 3 points. Aaron Rodgers got the ball and went down there and scored a touchdown. So now, according to Tony Romo and Nance, the Eagles was down double digits for the ninth time in like 10 straight games.
Yeah.
So I'm asking from a coach's standpoint, what is Doug Peterson doing wrong? Because I can't say he's doing anything wrong. I just see a shot fighter.
Yeah. And you have to say it. And this is just the second half, their offense had a little bit more juice. They had a little more pep in that step. And that's what a rookie Jalen Hurts. Like, it almost seemed like his teammates was happy he was in and was ready to rally around him.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Dwayne. We're me and you are both Cowboy fans, and we're gonna love what's going on with the soap opera, the Eagles, in the next year or two. But the Eagles are in a situation. I don't know if anybody understands. The salary cap is not going to go up. The projected cap right now, with the cap the way it is, the Eagles are over that cap.
Mm-hmm.
If the Eagles trade Wentz, he's $50 million on the cap. They don't want to renegotiate with him because then you spread out his years.
Right.
So they're in a situation of, and I see what you're saying, Rob. They're in a situation where maybe they might need to bench Wentz to play Hurts to try to trade him and get a first round pick, which I doubt any NFL team of give Jalen Hurts a first round grade. But they're in a position where they're stuck with Carson Wentz for at least 2 more years, and the Eagles are in trouble. And this is why Dwayne and myself and our other friend Craig, the Eagles are in a situation where they need to get cheap talent for their assets. So the Eagles don't really need to win the division. They need to trade down and try to get a whole bunch of players on the cheap because it's going to be a major exodus on the Eagles the next year. They're going to be cutting a lot of good players to get up under that cap and to be able to have, as we would say, workable money, 12 to 15 to $20 million. Each team likes to play in that area for late signings or whatever. So I just don't see the Eagles are in a situation, and I don't compare many teams to this franchise. They're in a situation that where they may be dealing with the late '90s, early '20s Washington football team. What Daniel Snyder did when he paid all these players, because they are in trouble with this Carson Wentz contract.
Yeah, it's not a good situation, man. You know,
You, Rob, you think? I mean, even with Sudfeld, what you gonna get?
I
A
don't.
high four, a high fourth, a
Yeah,
high third?
I don't
I
even
don't.
think.
Yeah, I
I,
don't know what they could do.
I think if they were gonna do something with Sudfeld, you would have saw Sudfeld in the second half today. What you have to understand is the Eagles use good draft capital on Jalen Hurts. They used the number 2 pick on him, man. So Sudfeld is not even in the picture, man.
And
He's
then and
still a
then
backup. They
then
used
it
a second round pick on Jalen Hurts, man.
then
And
you're in a situation where you didn't pay Ertz, who's probably the second or third best tight end in the league. So now you'll probably have to trade him or let him go.
well, I think
And Dallas Goddard's good enough to take it, but
oh yeah.
they're perfect in the two ends. The Eagles, from a going forward standpoint, they're paying the price to win the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And they should be happy that they got their first Super Bowl. But it's gonna be very interesting. I didn't get to hear any of the post game stuff. So the big question for me is who do the Eagles start next week? Do you start Carson Wentz or do you stay with Jalen Hurts? Do you give Jalen Hurts a start? Now, I think Doug Peterson's going to go with Carson Wentz, and I think he's going to excuse it as saying, the offense wasn't really doing nothing in the first half. I wanted to get a spark. That's why I put Jalen in. Carson Wentz is our franchise quarterback. He's our quarterback going forward. I think you're going to hear all of that, especially with them going up against the Saints, whose defensive line gets after it a little bit. But I don't think that Peterson is going to start him for the very reasons that I said. I think you're going to hear that same old Coach speak, him talking about Hurts was put into that position to give the team a spark, which it did. But I think next week, Carson Wentz is back under center for the Philadelphia Eagles.
And hey Rob, I agree with you that going back to Wentz might get Peterson fired. This is a very, very, very tricky situation that Doug Peterson is in. I mean, as a I think and let me tell you, Howie is a good personnel guy. Howie makes very shrewd business decisions. The Eagles are in a bad, bad situation, fellas. I mean, I can't harp on this point enough.
Well,
I've
listen,
never.
I mean, logic, what Rob is saying is very logical, right? But we also, Rob, got to look at this dollars and cents. That's $100 million quarterback. This is the guy that you felt was your franchise quarterback. So it's going to be very difficult. His confidence is shot now. It's going to be very difficult to put your $100 million franchise quarterback on the sidelines. And I just don't see Peterson doing it. Now,
Yeah, now that right there could be interesting. Me and Dwayne like Matt Eberflus a lot, because we're Cowboy fans. That's where he came from. But one of the things with Eberflus, what he would have to do with that defense is to strip them down. See, the Eagles hurt themselves in the situation when they re-signed Brandon Graham. He's a good player, but he's not a great player.
go
And
blue.
then you go sign that money and get Hargreaves that money. So then Darius Slay, like me and Dwayne was on the phone during that game. DJ Metcalf exposed him to the world. Darius Slay was always a good corner up in Detroit, and somehow or another, people in the league thought he was great. And that was a Schwartz guy when he was in Detroit. And Schwartz got him to come down there, and he's been exposed to getting hit with them double moves.
Yeah.
I just, from watching the Eagles and from afar and understanding their roster, they never had a secondary. They are in major trouble.
They're in cap.
I mean, major trouble. They may be in a position where they may try a quick fix, and if they could get Jamar Chase, They may have to just get Jamar Chase just so they can have a good receivers going next year. But from a talent standpoint, they got to replenish their roster.
Right. And that's it. So, like you said, we may have to do something just on the Eagles this week, man. Just pop up quick 30 minutes. But Carrie Underwood is playing our tune right now.
Yeah, I'm quite sure the great, and I say he's great because I really, as a Cowboy fan and growing up in the New York area, and when you move away, you appreciate other radio guys. I like Mike Missinelli. He always keeps it 100 to me. He always seems real. So I get to watch and listen to him this week, and I'm definitely gonna get a Eagles vibe or figure out what's going on because it's trouble.
Hey, man, another week down in the league where they pay for play. It's going to be
Yes.
interesting down the stretch as we got people jockeying for position. And the NFC lease is going to be interesting. I believe it's a two-team race. As I said this morning, I think the Washington football team is going to pull the upset tomorrow against the Steelers. And then you're going to have this Washington football team and these New York Giants battling it out.
Yeah, that's our upset of the week. Washington upset the Steelers, and I know a lot of people don't understand why. It's just something that styles make fights, and the Redskins just lost Dupree, and I don't think that they're going to be able to cover those backs in the backfield. So
Right.
very interesting. So that's our wrap for the wrap up show, man. Thanks for joining us, Rob. Thanks for subscribing, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
the new
Rob.
follow.
Thanks for
Every Sunday.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. Keep hitting us, keep challenging us, and we love having conversation with you, man. You add value to the show.
Yeah, every Sunday we do a preview show at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern, and then we do this show at night. And we got something real special for the football fans coming up for the draft. Real extensive. Me and Dwayne been doing this, talking about football and basketball, sports in general, since the 5th grade with each other. So we got something real, and I can't promote this show enough.
Yeah.
Our draft show will be worth watching. Will be worth sharing. So
it was, and if you want a little taste of it, man, just go in the archives, because if you look at our draft show last year,
Robin.
Too, Rob.
If you go on the channel, Rob, you'll find our draft show from last year, and our sleeper team was Miami. Our other co-host Craig, his sleeper team was Buffalo. We're all three Cowboy fans, and our other friend Anthony had joined the show. He's a 49er fan, and he actually picked Arizona as a good team. So we're not biased to the Cowboys at all.
Nah, we just love this game, man.
But thanks for joining the show, man. Appreciate you guys. And with that, have a good week. Look forward to this week one day.
Absolutely. Faith, football. That's it. Faith and football, man, is what we about.